RFK Jr. is there testifying. Senator Patty Murray tries to bring up how the Trump administration has wronged one of her constituents here in Washington state. So here is the initial exchange between RFK Jr. and United States Senator Patty Murray.
Mr. Secretary, one of my constituents, her name's Natalie Phelps. She's a mom of two from Bainbridge Island in Washington state. She has been fighting aggressive stage 4 colorectal cancer for nearly 5 years now. Her best hope now is a clinical trial she's participating in at the NIH Clinical Center. She flew out to NIH a few weeks ago for her first appointment, and her care team there wanted her to come back in 4 weeks to start treatment. But because of the thoughtless mass firing of thousands of critical employees across NIH and HHS that you carried out, Natalie's doctors at that clinical center have told her they have no choice but to delay her treatment by an additional 4 weeks. Now, an extra 4 weeks may not sound like a long time, but I will tell you, for stage 4 cancer patients like Natalie, this could mean the difference between life and death. Secretary Kennedy, how many staff have been cut from the NIH's clinical center? I want a specific number.
I can't tell you that now, Senator Murray. What I can tell you is that if you contact my office tomorrow, I'll look specifically into that.
Well, that is not acceptable. I want an answer back by that. She deserves it. I do it. She doesn't have much time. She deserves an answer back.
Wouldn't you rather get her into that clinical trial as fast as you can?
Absolutely.
All right, so if you contact my office tomorrow, this is if that happened.
You are here to defend your budget. I'm here to ask you questions about the impact of that.
Well, you asked me about a specific case that I want to help with. I don't think anybody, I don't think that should happen to anybody.
Okay, well, what have you, and I mean you personally, done to assess how those staff cuts are impacting patient care? She is one of many. What have you done to assess that?
I provided the guidelines that said we shouldn't, that no clinical trials should be affected by the cuts. I have, Matt Mamoli.
Mr. Secretary, I just have a short amount of time. They are impacting clinical trials.
You asked me a question. Do you want me to answer it?
I want to tell you, you need to know this. You're here to defend the NIH budget, which
Senator, do you want me to answer your question?
Well, I want
to. You want me to answer your question, Senator?
Tell you that Natalie is sitting there waiting for treatment.
I'm offering to help her, but you don't care. You don't care about Natalie. I've offered to help Natalie.
I am asking you a question, and it is critical. You are here to defend cutting NIH by half. Do you genuinely believe that that won't result in more stories like Natalie's?
I think the cuts that are now proposed by NIH are going to hurt. I think that President Trump, listen, there's no agency head in the government like myself that wants to see their budget cut. And
I asked you, have you personally assessed what this is doing to patients? And I am telling you, one story of one person, it is impacting life or death situation. I think it's.
You want me to answer your question, Senator?
Well, you did.
Oh, I have not. You have not allowed me to answer it.
Wow. Head of the agency, contact my office, we'll get her help. Contact my office, we'll look into her case. Well, that's not enough. That's not why you're here. And as he rightfully points out, she doesn't care about her constituent. She's using her constituent as a political pawn to make a point and a dunk on the Trump administration, which is genuinely disgusting. And I would also add, they take a recess, right? Give a little break, come back, and during that recess, RFK Jr. decides to look into Natalie's case so he can come back and maybe have some good news, like, hey, great news, we're going to get her into that clinical trial. I mean, Senator Patty Murray is literally saying Natalie will die without the clinical trial, and these cuts are the thing that's keeping her from the clinical trial. Here's what RFK Jr. found out.
I want to clarify an issue that we talked about before. Senator Murray had raised the issue of a constituent of hers who she said had been denied a place in a clinical trial in Washington due to the RIF. We've been able to run down that case. The patient was medically ineligible for that trial. There was
Medically ineligible?
medically ineligible. It had nothing to do with the RIF. And NIH had been trying to get her into another clinical trial, but none of our clinical trials were shut down because of the RIF. That was a canard.
Yeah, it was virtue signaling using a cancer patient who's near death. Genuinely disgusting. And good for him for so quickly during that recess tracking that case down, finding out not only was she medically ineligible for that particular program, but NIH, because she was medically ineligible for that one, was trying to get her into another one. They were already proactively working with her behind the scenes. Senator Murray should be ashamed of herself. Of course, she will not be. And I'm very glad that RFK Jr. had the wherewithal to call her out, say, you don't care about your constituent. I'm offering to help and you're ignoring me. And then to go out and get the information to prove her wrong and to say so publicly. Disgusting stuff, truly. I don't know what's going on with Patty Murray lately. I think Nicole has a good point. She's probably trying to, take the reins for Nancy Pelosi sort of in the public and all these efforts to dunk on Trump.